ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. Almost didn't make it back in time just now.
What the hell happened?
I had somebody at the coffee machine ahead of me that was taking forever.
Who are you throwing under the bus now?
I'm looking at her.
To be fair, to be clear and fair,
Yeah.
I was taking my time because I was yapping with Evan about his son's basketball game over the weekend. I was being a good teammate, inquiring about his children's activities over the weekend.
So you were showing a level of care for somebody that means a lot to you.
Correct.
I appreciate that.
Who?
To you.
Oh.
To you.
Oh.
But hold on, let me ask you this question. Since you think there are owls in the studio, all this hooing you're doing. Didn't you already have a cup of coffee this morning?
I had two. This is my third.
Okay, so why can't you be considerate of Michelle and allow her to get a cup of coffee? Because she's only on number one.
I did. She went
This
first.
is number one for me.
Okay, so why are you criticizing her because you had to wait behind her?
This doesn't sound like very good coffee culture.
And going on one of our shortest breaks. You know these breaks are shorter, so it's
Exactly.
the bottom or top of the hour are the best times to go get coffee.
So
They're not wrong, Ev.
So that's on you.
I get
That's
believe
on you, bro.
everything now.
That's
It's
on
really
you.
amazing.
You made a mistake. It was a miscalculation by you.
Fair. I will not walk out at the same time that she does again.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, of course, it's my fault. You know what's interesting? The next piece of sound we have, which is a juicy piece of sound, actually took place physically, where Smalls and I had a coffee.
Yeah, that's true. We did
at
have
the
a coffee there
Breakers
one time.
in Palm Beach, Florida. So Kevin O'Connell, the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, right? We're all kind of waiting for them to publicly say, like, hey, what are you guys talking about? Why would you bring up Aaron Rodgers? JJ McCarthy's our starter. Like, we're yet to get that exact moment. But Kevin O'Connell was with Kevin Clark. This is Football Podcast. And here's what he said about why the Vikings fans should be sold on JJ McCarthy.
That same player has had a year now of being around a guy like Sam Darnold going through his journey, a one-year journey with the success Sam had. He got to watch it. He got to see what meetings were like. What's it like when I install third down plays and we talk about the reads and we talk about the detail of how we're going to play against this opponent who plays like this week. And I think he's been around all that. Yeah. So he's not a rookie. He's been able to have, that pseudo redshirt year, albeit without the reps we would have wanted. But I'm really confident and really excited to see him hit the ground running. He's had a great offseason, and I can't wait to get going with him when OTAs actually get going.
Have the Vikings convinced you that they are 100% sold on JJ McCarthy?
Hell no. Because if they would have solidified their backup quarterback position by now. But we're we're going into April, and they haven't made a decision. Right now, it's JJ McCarthy and Brett Rippon. Those are the only quarterbacks on the depth chart. So why haven't you bought in the veteran backup that you've said on the record that you want this offseason? Could it be that you're trying to better deal what you already had in the way of Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones? Because that's what it feels like. So the fact that we've let it loom this long and that they haven't made a decision on a guy that has been relegated to backup status, on a quarterback like Jameis Winston or somebody of that ilk, that leads me to believe that the Minnesota Vikings are still, quote-unquote, big game hunting when it comes to quarterbacks.
That is such a good point.
Yes, it is.
What you're saying is until the Vikings solidify the 2, we're going to have questions about the 1.
Don't tell me, show me that you're convicted about JJ McCarthy's future this season. Because they can say whatever they want, but Cece brings up an excellent point. Then why haven't you already solidified that? And if you haven't, does it lead us to believe that the door is still open in some way for Aaron Rodgers, who still hasn't made a decision when it comes to his football future?
I think this is the best way to look at it. I think what you just said is the best way to look at this, and that's what you're reacting to on this very simply. Until the Vikings bring in a 2, we're going to ask about the 1. Because that means that J.J. McCarthy is an option for 2 open positions with this organization. Starting quarterback and backup quarterback. That if they, as odd as this sounds, if they bring in Carson Wentz, we have clarity on the Vikings.
That
they need to bring in
JJ
Carson Wentz.
McCarthy, yeah.
Because they will not start him. Or they will not start him for the entirety of the season. Maybe if J.J. McCarthy's banged up, it gets a game to start, whatever it may be. Until the Vikings bring in a 2, we have questions about the 1. How does Mike Tomlin and company not hear this from Kevin O'Connell with Kevin Clark and not wonder, do we have competition for the guy that we're putting all of our eggs in his basket? The Vikings are not putting all of the eggs in one basket here.
No.
They have optionality. They're basically saying, we know low end that we have a B at the quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. Low end. We're wondering if we have an A. Can we go get an A? Do we think this guy's an A? The Steelers have what? A C or a D? And seemingly are comfortable accepting the C or the D?
Well, that's what they've been doing post Ben Roethlisberger.
Right. That's a comfortable grade for them.
Yeah.
This is very odd
get
to
degrees.
me. This whole thing is very odd to me. It almost feels like, and I know we're not, but it almost feels like we're missing something with all of this. This is so un-Steelers-like, right? To wait around like this. It's also odd that the Vikings are waiting around like this.
Are the Vikings doing the right thing?
Well, I guess relative to what? More detail on the question. Are they doing the right thing relative
Are they doing
to?
the right thing relative to their football team trying to compete at the highest level this season? Because clearly they're going for it. You look at all of the moves that they made, what they did. They invested $100 million in contracts on the offensive line and the defensive line in the same offseason. They brought over Will Freeze, Ryan Kelly from Indianapolis. They brought on Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen. Like they buffed up front. And that is to compete with the likes of the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers in their division, the Philadelphia Eagles and the NFC as a whole. Like, it feels like Minnesota is going for it, and yet there is some reluctance to hand the keys of a Ferrari to a second-year quarterback that, as Kevin O'Connell said, didn't get the reps that they anticipated on the field in his redshirt rookie season.
Okay, let me ask you that question. I'm thinking about this as you're presenting this question. Did the Vikings do the right thing? If you're willing to not have J.J. McCarthy as your starting quarterback this year, if you believe that J.J. McCarthy low end is a B and that you're looking for an A or an A+, then you probably should have tried to trade him for Matthew Stafford. You probably should have upgraded from Rodgers. If McCarthy's not going to be your quarterback this year and you're going all in, let's say, you're probably then choosing the wrong all-in guy. You probably should have looked around and up. I bet you the Rams would have had a really hard decision if they were offered J.J. McCarthy.
Oh, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's age-wise maybe more in line with some of their players.
Yeah.
And Stafford's more age-wise in line with some of the Vikings players
Correct.
at this point. So if you're not going to have J.J. McCarthy as your quarterback, would you have been better served using him to get your quarterback instead of in tandem with your quarterback?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and really just pushing all the chips this season and go for it based on the roster that you have around him. That's what you're suggesting?
Yeah, because what they would say is, we'll give him another year of seasoning, which I'm totally good with. I love the, get a quarterback when you want one, not when you need one. And I don't care if he sits 2 years because you still got him for the next 3 after that. But if you're going all in, who better... there's no better way of getting a big-time quarterback than using one to get another one.
Yeah, but they're not going all in. What they're doing is being half pregnant because they want to keep J.J. McCarthy as their quarterback one of the future while also having somebody that has more experience.